Well, this is an impromptu kind of lunch and learn that we tend to do at TechSnips every now and then, to where we bring our contributors together and meet once a week to really just kind of learn about whatever technology that we're currently working with, anything we really think is cool. As you'll see, this is going to be a completely informal presentation of kind of something that I've been working with, and I highly encourage any other TechSnips contributors that may be watching this live or via the recording to to just submit something. Anything, pretty much anything that you want to submit, anything that you want to show off is cool with us. The videos will get are always recorded, and they will get published on the YouTube channel. So for this lunch and learn, I wanted to talk about a module that I currently built based off of Azure Cognitive Services. If you're not familiar with Azure Cognitive Services, it is a suite of services that is built on machine learning that allows you to do things like, in my instance here, convert text to speech, recognize things in images, speech translation. There's a lot of things. I don't have any slides here, so it's not going to be anything spectacular or anything or that, but that's kind of what Azure Cognitive Services is. So what I have done is I have created a PowerShell module called AzTextToSpeech. And this module allowed me to demonstrate a lot of abilities of Azure Text-to-Speech, or the text-to-speech service API in Azure. And it did that because I am currently working on a Pluralsight course around cognitive services text-to-speech. And this module was built to work with cognitive services, to work with your cognitive services accounts, get everything set up, and then easily convert text to speech. So you're sending various pieces of text and converting it to a voice. All right, so if you're not already set up with cognitive services, I hear on the GitHub repo Bertram /AZ text to speech. I have, let me zoom this in a little bit. So I have a little quick tutorial guide set up here to kind of get you started. So I'm going to go through everything that kind of did how to building for the module, and then we'll go into more of using it and kind of what it can do, and maybe talk about some use cases. And then if it's anybody's here at the end, I know I didn't give a whole lot of time, notice on this live presentation, but if we have any contributors hop in, maybe we'll answer some questions later. All right, so the first thing we have to do is you need to get a cognitive services account or a free trial key. So if you go over here, resource not found. No. Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. So if we go over here, you can go to Cognitive Services, free trial. I bet that'll get me there. Yeah. All right, so click on the link and go to Speech APIs and Speech Services. So Speech Services is a suite of services that are inside of Cognitive Services. And you can see here, this includes text-to-speech. If you don't have a Cognitive Services account, you can get an API key here and just use 7-day free trial. It's actually, you can get it a free plan ongoing. So there's a lot of things you can do that are completely free with this. So you don't actually need an actual Cognitive Services account. But what I'm going to be doing is you can use the free trial, but that's just kind of playing around with it. If you're ever going to use this in an application or in production somehow, you're going to need a Cognitive Services account. So what I have done is I have created a Cognitive Services account here in the Azure portal, and I'll just go ahead and log in as my PS course authors demo. So I will go into the Azure portal, log in here. All right, once I'm in the Azure portal, I can just go up here, type in Cognitive Services, go to the Cognitive Services account, and then I have one called Blog Reader. That's a project that I'm not going to go over in this presentation. You can see it's a sneak peek. You can see it in the actual Pluralsight course when it comes out. So the account looks like this. So there's not much to the account. Notice that there's not much here in this window, but to create one, you simply go over here to add, and it's really easy. You want to add a speech resource to actually create the Cognitive Services account. So you go to add and go to speech, create, and then you fill out this information. I'm not going to fill out this information right here. It's pretty simple. Whatever the name of it you want, the Azure subscription, I'm using a free trial. The location, it should be always closest to you. Always, that's the data center that it was going to be in. The pricing tier, you'll have F0 and S0. F0 is completely free. S0 is paid. And you go to here to the pricing details. The free instance gives you a lot. I mean, you get 5 free hours of translation for speech translation, 5 hours of text-to-speech conversion time a month. You get lots of things to do that. And the biggest difference for me is free to standard is the 20 concurrent requests and 1 concurrent request. But if you're just testing around and just playing around with it, the free instance is more than enough for what you need. And you set this, you probably set it to F0 and then set the resource group. And like I said, I'm not going to be creating that here, because I already have one that I'll be using. And then once you go into here, this is where you would need to find the API keys. But we're not going to go over the API keys. You can technically go in here, but this is going to be pretty PowerShell specific, so you might as well just do everything in PowerShell. All right, so we have the Cognitive Services account set up. All right, next up, we go over here to PowerShell. Now I'm on my Mac and I need to run this. I haven't tested this with PowerShell Core yet, so I need to actually bring up my Windows PowerShell instance here. Let's hope this works. Oh, I know why it's not working, because I need to sign in. All right, so here is my Windows PowerShell instance. Clear out all this stuff. Okay. So the AzTextToSpeech module is in GitHub. So to install it, you can either go directly to the GitHub repo and download and install in there, put it in your module path yourself, or you can just run install module in your PowerShell session and install it from the PowerShell gallery. But I'm not going to do that because I already have it installed. So that's how you would get it. So the first thing you have to do whenever you get this module, you first need to set some configuration values up in the configuration.json file that comes with it. So I don't actually have that open here in VS Code. So let me go over here and open up that JSON file. The JSON file is located in the module directory. So let me go over here. It's in Program Files, Windows PowerShell, Modules, AzTextToSpeech. Oh, and I do want to know that this does depend on the Azure module, or the AZ module, so you will definitely need that. All right, so this is the configuration JSON file that the module depends on. When you just start out, what you'll have to do is replace your region. So my region is East US. So you need to replace this for the token endpoint. All this will be in here for you already. This is the endpoint that you will call to pass your API key to get your token. Once you have that in there, you can put in the API key. This is for if you don't have a Cognitive Services account. If you can use a free trial, you can use that. This is the custom endpoint. We're not going to go over custom video fonts or custom voice fonts. That's a complete thing refer to the Pluralsight course that I just created for all the information on how to create a custom voice bot. And we need to set the subscription region here. This will be the same thing as your token input up here. And then you will need to assign the cognitive services name and the blog reader or the resource group name here. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see that a little bit better. All right. So once you have all this information in your configuration JSON, then you need to grab a token. To do that, you can just use connect AZ text-to-speech. So let me go ahead and just run this. And this will go out and it already knows your API key. So you're authenticated to Azure. So be sure to run AZ, connect AZ account to authenticate to your Azure subscription first. It will go out, read your cognitive services account, and then grab your key. Once it finds your key, then it will send a call to the issue token endpoint here, and then it will grab a token and put it in the module scope, so you don't have to worry about it. It'll just pass it every time it makes a call. All right, so once you have that, then what you can also do here, I think I have get API key. Let me make sure. Easy text to see what commands do I have in here. So yeah, if you want to just grab a token yourself without just using it in some other way, you have get CS token here. You can run get CS token. Oh, you didn't see that. You didn't see that. So, but apparently something is broken there that I need to fix. But you can generally run get CS token, and it will return a key. Actually, I mean, since this is just an informal presentation, let's just troubleshoot this and see, see if we can just fix this on the fly. All right, so in the function here, I have everything broken out in public and private functions. So get CS token, let's see what this does. All right, there in the script scope, that's where it grabs the key, and that's where it also grabs the token endpoint. We ran that, so that should be in there. Why isn't that showing up? That should have populated whenever you ran connect AZ text-to-speech. No, all right, so that's going to take a little bit to get that fixed. But anyway, that has no bearing on what I was going to show you. All right, so let's say that the text-to-speech service has lots and lots of different voices. So you have lots of standard voices you can use, male, female, all kinds of different languages. And you can grab all of the voice agents here using the AZ text-to-speech module using get voice agent. It's just a command that I built that goes out and queries one of the APIs for text-to-speech and returns all of the different voices that you have available. And then again, you already saw this about all the different commands that are available here in the module itself. And there are quite a few. I mean, really, it's just a V1 or a V.1, I guess you could say. So there's not a whole lot to it at this point. But for the most part, it just does what it's supposed to do. It goes out and converts text to speech. So the main function here is convert to speech, which I'll show you here in a minute. All right, so now once it's all set up, and if you can run get voice agent, that means that your token is being passed successfully. You didn't return an error, so that means you're good to go. All right, so continuing on here, this is part of the script that I used for my Pluralsight course that I demonstrated on how to get a token and using a token. So we could just quickly go down through here, and actually I can probably fix this if I get used to get familiar with this again. So to get a cognitive services account, I can use get AZ cognitive services account. You can see that it brings back all the information that I have here. We need an endpoint. So to get that endpoint that I put in the JSON file, I can use the look at the endpoint property here, and then you can see the issue token. That's where I got that URI from. And then to get a token, you have to get the API key. And like I said, you can find that API key in the portal, or you can run get AZ Cognitive Services account key. So when I run this, I can pass it the name of the Cognitive Services account and the resource group name, and it should return my keys. So yes, it returns my keys successfully. All right, so I just want the primary key. We just need one here. Oh, I didn't assign it the variable. All right, so we got that. And then to query the token endpoint, to actually grab that token that you can use to authenticate later, you have to pass your API key via the OCP APIM subscription key header here. And once I do that, I'll bring this over here. And then now you can specify the endpoint. So it will be that token, issue token endpoint, passing the header, which is the OCPIM subscription key with the value of your API key, and a post method. So I'll go ahead and run this, and this should grab a token. Nope, I didn't assign the variable to that. And this should grab a token for us. And there you go. So whenever we ran connect AZ text-to-speech before, it did all this stuff for us, so we don't have to do that. I'm just kind of doing this manually to show you how it can be done with PowerShell. All right, so using the token, here's where we will call it. So before I just ran get voice agent. That's a whole lot easier than running all of this code, right? But all this code is exactly the same thing as this. So to query an API key, not the conversion API, but just an API to bring back all of the voices. What I've done here, I've defined the subscription region, the path of the route in the REST API is voices/list. That just lists all the voices. And then for the HTTP headers, that's where you define your authorization key, and then your bearer space, then the token that we just created. And then once we have the headers, then we can just add all of this stuff in, pass the parameters, HTTP headers. The method this time is just going to be get, because we're just grabbing voices, and then passing that URI. So the URI is going to be HTTPS East US is going to be my region, blah, blah, blah. And then the path is voices/list. All right. So when we run this, you won't see anything spectacular because you've already seen it, because get voice agent returns all of that. So that's kind of the quick breakdown of what getting your key, getting a token, and then just making a call to the REST API to see if everything works. All right, so continuing on. This is my favorite part, is actually doing the conversion. So I'm not going to go down through each of these. Actually, let's see in this demo here. Actually, yeah, I'll do it. I will do it manually, quote unquote, manually with PowerShell. But then I will also do it with the AZ text-to-speech model to show you how much easier it is. All right, so to start off with, let me zoom in a bit here. You can see that there is a ton of speech-to-text voices that you can have. Or text-to-speech, here we go. So you have all of the standard ones. We've got all kinds of languages, genders, and you have text-to-speech, which is the neural ones. The neural voices are the voices that are based on deep learning or the neural networks, that they sound much more natural, but you are limited in a few things that you can do, some more advanced things that are available in my Pluralsight course if you would choose to watch it whenever it is available. Yeah, so you have lots of options there. And then let me go over back here. So you would need, if you're going to do a text-to-speech conversion, first you need your voice. So let's say that I picked, I don't know, one of these. You need, I'm going to do English United States because that's where I'm from, if you can't tell by my southern drawl. Next up, you need the audio output. So the module goes out and queries and REST API. And then where is the audio output section here? There we go. It goes out, queries the API. The API ingests the model, the machine learning model, and then it converts it to audio and sends it back as an audio stream. You have different audio outputs that you can choose. Here's all the different audio outputs that you can choose. All this is built into the AZ text-to-speech module, so you would definitely need to know what audio output. Me personally, not being an audio guy, I don't know. There's not a big difference to me in any of these. I played around with it. I assume 128K is better than 32K. I don't know, to be honest with you, but the PowerShell module has all the support for all of these that you need. All right, so to find that, what you can also do, instead of going to the page there, you can just run convert to speech, and then just type audio output, hit dash, and then hit a tab, audio output, and then start hitting tab, and it'll cycle through all those available ones, and it will pass all those correctly to the REST API. Okay, so we've already went through all of this. I think we actually have, we've got the token stored. All right, so doing this manually, the text-to-speech service and any synthetic speech services uses SSML, or synthetic speech markup language. And it is an XML-based language that allows you to instruct the service to tweak the voice a little bit to what you want to do, or to pass the text, or to do lots of different things. So for example, in this one, it has the SSML always has the speak tag. It has a speak tag with the version, the same XML namespace. And in this case, I'm using English US. Same thing, I'm using English US here. And then inside of the speak tag will always be the voice tag, which the voice tag is the voice agent that you're going to be using. So all of this always has to be Microsoft Service speech to text voice, and then the language. And then here is where the change that you need. So in this case, I'm using the Guy voice. It's the neural voice. You can use any of those any of those voices that I explained earlier. And then here on line 44 is where the text is what it's actually going to be. It's actually going to be speaking. And then I'm closing the voice and the speak text. So this is a very, very simple SSML snippet. So I will go ahead and add this into my session. And then now, once I have the SSML snippet, then I need to actually make the REST call. And again, I'm using invoke REST method to do that with PowerShell, since we're already using PowerShell. I first need to build the HTTP headers. Again, authorization. I have to pass the token to authenticate. Then here in Microsoft output format is where we must specify that format that we need. If we were not using the AZ text-to-speech module, we would need to specify this with the Microsoft output header here. All right, once we have all of that, then we go over here, we specify the headers. The body is SSML. The method is always going to be post to doing a conversion. Content type always has to be SSML to make the web service understand that you're passing SSML in the body. And then depending on what language that you use, fortunately, the invoke REST method command in PowerShell has a really nice outfile command or outfile parameter that we can use to specify the path of the MP3 file. So it's just going to capture that audio stream and then save it to a local file. And then finally here we have the URI, which is the subscription region that I was using. And then this time the route is, or the path is V1 for all text-to-speech conversions. All right, so once we have all of that, let's copy that, paste it in. All right, so we now should have a saved MP3 file. So that, I don't know if it's actually going to record. I don't know if this is actually going to record the system audio or not. Let me just play this. All right, if you didn't hear that, let me just play it out of the speakers here. Let me disable it. We'll just play it out of the speakers, so hopefully you can hear it.
Guy. I am an option for a neural voice. Hello, I am Guy. I am an option for a neural voice.
All right. So I hope you heard that. It sounds really good. Really good. But so we went through kind of the manual steps to do that. What we can do is we can speed that up by just using the convert to speech function with the AZ text-to-speech module. And to do that, all we need is this. So how many is that? 75 to 82. Only 7 lines of code. So the convert to speech function in the AZ text-to-speech module has a few parameters. We can specify the text, which is exactly the same as we had here, as a voice agent. So the function has a voice agent parameter on it. So you can use convert to speech voice agent, and then again you can just hit tab. It has a validate set parameter attribute on it where you can just tab through all of the available commands that you want. Specify the audio output here, output file, and in this case we're just going to use pass-through. It'll go ahead and open it up, that file, and pass it to invoke item, which will open up my media player. And this will do the exact same thing as it did before, just with 7 lines of code.
Hello, I am Guy.
Same thing. So it's a nice little shortcut to just doing some quick text conversions and getting some information back. So I wanted to make this a little technical. So I wanted to go through briefly kind of how this module was built. Maybe you can learn some tips and tricks along the way of how I built this module. I'm not going to go over this too much. I don't want this lunch and learn to be too long, but I did kind of want to show you some of the things that I did to get this module built. So we open it up here. It is on 1029. All right, so the let me see here. One of the things that we didn't go through were the training packages. I'm not even going to go through that in this lunch and learn. You have to, whenever you're training a custom voice font, there's a lot of things, a lot of issues that you're going to have to run into, but a lot of that is in the Pluralsight course, so I encourage you to go check that out whenever it gets published. So in reality, I mean, honestly, the hard part is already done for us. We have a REST API, and all this does, it's kind of put a nice, pretty bow on top of the REST API and lets you interface with the service via that REST API with just PowerShell. So how I built this out. Open up here. All right, so what it does is, one thing that you notice that we had to build that SSML, I don't want to mess with SSML strings all the time. So what I did was, in the convert to speech function here, the SSML is built on the fly, so you don't actually have to build it. All you provide is the necessary information that you need. So for example, notice over here that we just passed, hello, I am a guy, and the guy neural and the audio output. All this stuff needs to be in SSML for the REST API to understand it, but we're doing the conversion for you with the convert to speech function. So you can see here that I build the base SSML, which is the speak tag with the voice tag inside, and then I create the attributes. So here is the voice where we add the voice agent name, and then here is, that is there, and then for the text, where do we pass the text here? Here, XSML speak voice. There's the speak tag, the voice tag, and enter text. And because there's sometimes, if you pass it some information, text like that needs to be escaped with XML, like apostrophes, less than, greater than symbols, all that stuff is taken care of in this escape XML helper function we have here. So in reality, it just takes all that and creates the SSML for you, and then it's a pretty simple function. Then after that, it just takes that SSML that it had built, passes the audio output when using the Microsoft output format
header key, and then passes all the information that you had to it, just passes it through. And then one thing that as a time saver, you'll see here that it queries the configuration. So if you see in the module, if you look at it, you'll see script config. That is populated whenever connect to AZ text-to-speech is ran. That variable is populated in a module scope or the script scope, and then it calls the subscription region. So you'll see that it's calling subscription region here. If you go over here to configuration JSON, you'll see subscription region here. It calls all of the information from that JSON, so you only have to provide it once rather than keep providing it over and over again. And then once it's done, you'll see that this is not invoke REST method. This is invoke API. So this allows me to make standardized calls and passing the token every time, because you'll have more than just the convert to speech function. So for example, you have not that one. You have get voice agent. Notice that this one is a lot different. This one just calls invoke API again, the URI, and the method. Notice that there is no token in here. You have to pass the token for every single API request. Instead of doing that for every single function like get voice agent or convert AZ text to speech, there is a private function here called invoke API. And invoke API is essentially just kind of a wrapper around invoke REST method. Because I don't want to have to worry about adding in the bearer token in for every one of my calls. I just simply need to call invoke API, and it runs the token. And one other thing that's handy with this module that you run into is the token refresh. So every 10 minutes, your token expires. So whenever we ran connect AZ text to speech, that grabbed a token. A 10-minute timer started. After 10 minutes, it expires. Rather than constantly having to get a token, with invoke API, that just catches it to see if it returned a 401 unauthorized, which is what you see whenever the token is expired. And then it tells you API call not authorized, attempt to refresh. And then it will run refresh CS token, which then will run through all of the information right here that we have here of getting the endpoint, getting the querying the API key, and then getting the token that way. It's a nice little shortcut that you can use to just do all these sort of things. So, all right, I think that's kind of it. Again, this is kind of an informal lunch and learn thing here. I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And let's see here. Is it not? Can you not hear it? Okay. I will unmute anybody. If anybody has any questions, you can now unmute yourself. Nothing? Bueller?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, how's it going, Adam?
Good.
Hey, I'm working from home right now, so I don't have my webcam.
Okay.
But what's a good use case for this?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's see here. Oh, I shouldn't have stopped sharing my screen. Let me share my screen again. Let me see here. Let me look at my, actually. She didn't have the slides yet. Oh, well, anyway. Oh, maybe it's in here. Is it in here? No, dang it. Anyway, oh well, I don't know where the slides are for the course, but use cases are like whatever I talked about in the course. I talked about like authors and wanting ebooks or audiobooks created from ebooks. I created a sample project in the Pluralsight course called Blog Reader that converts blog articles to speech to a podcast. What was some more? There was some voice talent for like for video games. If a manufacturer or a company is making video games, they can create voice from that. I was going to do in my course, I was going to actually create my custom voice font and build the some of the voiceovers with my custom voice, and hopefully nobody paid attention. But training takes forever for the custom voice font, and I didn't. I wanted to get this done before the PowerShell Summit, so I didn't get that done. There was another good one. What was that other one? Audiobooks, the video games, creating a podcast. I don't know. There was another one. But yeah, I mean, anytime that you have some, like, anytime you need a voiceover, like online, like for courses, that would be awesome if we could have. I'm still working on that. Hopefully, get my custom voice font created to where we can just have a train every TechSnips contributor's voice with the custom voice font, and then instead of nobody would need to do, we wouldn't have to worry about audio issues anymore because we would just simply make an API call. That's the dream.
Well, I would imagine training it could be very difficult considering the regional accents and.
It's pretty smart from what I've seen so far. I have only. Were you able to hear the voice whenever it got converted?
Yeah.
Let me show you the one I have. It's not done by any stretch of the imagination, but this is only based on like 10 sentences, 10 or 20. No, maybe, I don't know, a couple dozen. Let me look. For the custom initial, nope, this is the other one. Oh, I'll show you the difference. So here is one that I trained with just 3 utterances. An utterance is just a sentence or a kind of a grouping of sounds. So I can go over here to my endpoints and go to test, and hopefully you can hear this. Let me see if I can turn this up. Oh, this is a test.
This is a test to see how this works.
Did you hear that?
Doesn't sound like you though.
Yeah, it's still. I'm sure it needs more training, but it still sounds very computerish.
Yeah, it still sounds like that was only for 3. Like,
yeah.
Let me show you the difference here. I did another one. This one has like 70 or 80 different utterances, I think. The difference is amazing. The more quality audio that you can put into these things, the better it sounds. Description key. I need to go over here for that. But I'm going to try. I have a freelancer building the training data for me because it takes forever.
Hey Adam, it's Matt here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Did you say you'd converted one of your blog posts over to it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it works. It doesn't sound the greatest because the custom voice isn't trained all the way, but it definitely works.
How did you just give it the text from the post, or did you take it from the HTML itself? How did that work?
Yeah, it pulls the. I have it in the actual project that I demonstrated in the course is on GitHub. It's called, or actually it's in the PowerShell gallery. It's called Blog Reader. It's just a simple thing that I created that essentially you just run Get blog article, which goes out and pulls an RSS feed, parses out the HTML just for the body of the post, and then sends it to convert to audio file. So it just pulls the RSS feed, grabs the post, sends the text to convert to audio file, which then uses the AZ text-to-speech module to use Cognitive Services to get it converted.
Oh wow! I gotta give that a go, I think.
Yeah, I mean it took a while to learn all this, but yeah, this is just kind of a proof of concept project, and it's really a simple thing. And it uses the majority of it uses the AZ text-to-speech module that I had built. But yeah, it's a really cool. I'm really geeking out over it.
That sounds pretty good. I like that.
Oh dang it! I wanted to show you the new custom voice. It doesn't sound great yet because it's only a few dozen utterances, but it definitely sounds better than that first one. Testing it. This is the one I was doing. Change. Oh, no, we don't need to do this. We just use it in the portal here. Don't get P from, oh, you piece of junk. Oh. Okay. So now my voice should show up here, I hope. And boy, no. Wrong one. Test account. There we go. Adam V2. So this model is trained with 1, then I had 83, and then I put in another 33. So we have 3 different models here. The first one is 33 utterances. So here's what this one sounds like. Oh, I can actually just download this one.
This is a little scary. To train this voice, and it's already sounding like me.
So it still sounds robotic, for sure. But that was the 33 one. Here's the 83.
Do I sound like a robot?
See, it's starting to sound a little bit better, and that's only 83. What I've done, I'm having the freelancer do is take 20 hours of transcription and audio from all of my previous Pluralsight courses, build the training data for that, and I'm going to upload 20 hours of audio to see how accurate it sounds.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm lucky I had all that data, else I would have to just sit and read a dictionary or something. Yeah, I've learned the training is by far and away the hardest, most time-consuming part of this. But we will see. This is kind of an experiment. I just wanted to see if I can somehow not have to worry about audio ever again. I could just say, play. And my course audio just magically plays. We'll see. But anyway, that's kind of what I've been working on lately. Guess I can stop the recording.